Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Safira Salsabila Syafril. I'm from Economic Education 2019. And in this occasion, I will present about my thesis. The title is Influence of Economic Growth, Inflation, and COVID-19 Pandemic 2019 until 2021. Chapter 1. The first background of the problem. In pandemic COVID-19 impact which very tech effective number of sector life, especially on set economic role, the only one is employment. According to Representative Chairman General World Employment Anton, it says that employment which can tolerate as much 4% sold. However, moment pandemic employment processly increased until 6%. Factor internals, the first amount information vacancy work which no until to seek work. The second, low education and training for seeker work, so the actual mismatch. The third, reluctance register self because existence limitation like disability. Factor external, the first subtraction amount employed in company big. Second, the more decline power work which no have skills. Third, lack of awareness for ability, disability. And four, operate will high cost guarantee health as well accident work. Problem or formulation. How influence growth economic to employment in Indonesia 2018 until 2021? The second, how influence inflation to employment in Indonesia 2018 until 2021? The third, how influence pandemic COVID-19 to employment year 2018 until 2021? Results of objective. The first, for analyze and test existing influence among growth economy to employment in Indonesia. Second, for analyze and test existing influence among inflation to employment in Indonesia. The third, for analyze and test existing influence among pandemic COVID-19 to employment in Indonesia. Benefit of research. Theoretical benefits could give benefit for campus in the world of education economics, especially education economics in make knowledge less about employment in the era COVID-19 as well as make great learning about employment. Practical benefits. The first is instruction for students in C development framework. Second, so that could make reference for students in develop knowledge. The third, for research expected, studied this benefit as literature which study. The fourth, called make reference for research next. Chapter 2. The first one, employment. According to Central Agency Statistic Indonesia 2016, employment is from somebody which no have profession, currently with profession prepare of work, and somebody which no work, as well as somebody which already have profession, however not yet start work. Request to power work apart. Consequence, existence needs for availability for power work in the theory economy known in its name derived demand. Economic growth. According to Central Agency Statistics, population at work, which work or have profession become temporary or no have profession permanent. The theory Thomas Robert Malthus mentioned that when existent growth population no will occur without enhancement will being which comparable so that when level over increase or request of power work also will increase where impact growth for work which increase also that cause decreased field work and cause employment. Inflation. Emerging inflation because existent emphasis from cost plus inflation and from demand plus inflation as well as expectation inflation future. Factor happening cause post inflation caused by depreciation, score of swap, impact inflation outside country, especially countries partner trade, and hedgement price to commodity with set government. From theoretic Phillips explained, Phillips claimed that employment and inflation compared to backward, the more high inflation so unemployment will reduce and on the country. If inflation low, so employment will increase. On COVID-19, data center statistic there is 4 component group population effort which affected COVID-19. Of them, the first employment consequence COVID-19, employment consequence COVID-19, The third, noteworthy because COVID-19. Fourth, work which experienced cutting in global work as you can see COVID-19. Research position, theoretical framework, employment, role and reason employment increase in among seeker words which face, however, no follow with availability, well profession which enough. Economic growth, Hawkins law state existence connection negative linear one among employment with growth economy. 1% increase level employment will cause decline. Growth economic as big 2% or more. On the contrary, 1% increase in output will cause drop level employment as big as 1% or not enough. COVID-19 pandemic, COVID-19 have influenced to increase number employment even will keep going increase. In a pandemic, this not quick error and or solve. As for the cause number employment in this increase in country pandemic is existing law of as well as it hard look for profession moment pandemic in progress. Hypothesis formulation. First, there is influence among growth economy to employment in Indonesia. Second, there is influence among inflation to employment in Indonesia. The third, there is influence among pandemic COVID-19 to employment in Indonesia. Chapter 3, Analysis population and sample units. The data will conduct study is data quantitative or use regulation in their multiple analysis panel data. For to do study, researchers interested for researching variable dependent employment 34 province in Indonesia employment which research that is employment in condition COVID-19 2018 until 2021. Data collection technique, the collection of data that will research origin from source data from BPS and number of data journal. The employment use data secondary with period time to year from 2018 until 2021 from before pandemic and during pandemic. Operating variables, employment, definition conceptual, variable, employment categorized as somebody which already classified as sport work, which have preparation, can only look for person and also prepare. Definition of operation variable, employment be measured through month employment 34 provinces in Indonesia through BPS data from year 2019 until 2021. Economic growth. Definition conceptual variable growth economic is development in economy which cause goods and service which product in public interest and prosperity public interest. Definition operational variable growth economy be measured through GDP every province in 2018 until 2019 before pandemic COVID and 2020 until 2021 after the COVID-19 pandemic. Inflation. Definition conceptual variable inflation is change increase price by general as well as significant and in progress in period time which will as well as cause a number of goods experience increase price for unpriced market. Definition operational variable inflation be measured through percentage inflation which take from Bank Indonesia data from 34 province in Indonesia from year 2018 until 2021. COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 pandemic is which infectious so that need keep distance for stop transmission so that existence. Definition operational variable. Pandemic COVID be measured was variable dummy with number of year 2018 until 2019 and number for year 2020 until 2021 respective province 34 province in Indonesia. Analysis techniques. The first fixed effect model, and then common effect model, and then random effect model. As following, the first child test, second Hausman test, third Burns-Pagan test, or Lagrange multiplier. The fourth, the test assumption classic, the test normality, autocorrelation, multilinearity, and the last one, the heteroscedasticity. Chapter 4 is Description Data and Result. The first data that used in study. This is data secondary which consists from cross-section data because your variable dummy, variable observation which take from year 2018 until 2071 which cover 34 provinces in Indonesia. Data variable dependent which use is employment. Why? Whereas variable independent whose in growth economy X1, inflation X2, and variable pandemic X3. Result, the test show test used for judgment model separate among CM model or VM model seen from cross-section F and C squares big as 0.0, the log 0.05, so that H0 reject and H1 reset, so that model use is firm. Houseman test. Houseman test used for just model that is firm, models or RAM that more appropriate. If seen from Houseman test on random cross-section, how big probability 0.7, the weak 0.05, so that H0 reject and H1 reset. So that just a RAM model. Test Lagrange multiplier using from test Lagrange multiplier, so basic base score breast vegan have probability big as 0.0 that H0 reject and H1 receive, so choose RAM model that best. Test assume classic. The first test normality called distribution normal when probability on 0.05 technique called conclude that data is distribution normal. Multicollinear test based on data correlation x1 until x2 the big as 0.04 in correlation among x2 and dummy as big 0.2. Now there is a correlation between variable independent full is 0.9. So what concrete? Now there is multicollinearity between variables independent. Heteroscedasticity test. Result appearance show that variable x1, x2, until x3 no indicated heteroscedasticity, where significance the big on 0.05 so conclude that not there is indication that there are heteroscedasticity. Delta correlation score Derby-Watson 1.8, Durbin lower 1.2, Durbin upper 1.6, and then for minus Durbin Watson 4.1.2, and result 2.7293. In the conclusion, from the test of correlation is no there is autocorrelation between variables so that no indicated existent autocorrelations on study. The result test variable dummy before pandemic COVID. The result of employment 1.24227, and then during pandemic COVID-19, the employment is 1.4. So before existing COVID-19, pandemic employment is big 1.224, and after and during pandemic COVID is 1.41. Chapter 5, Conclusion. Study this use data secondary, that is data that collect through Central Agency Statistic, Bank Indonesia, and article related. Variable dependent in study is the employment 2018 until 2021 with variable independent growth, economy, inflation, and the COVID pandemic. Result study which already conducted called drawn conclusion as following. The first, variable growth economic take effect positive with significant to variable employment. Second, variable inflation take effect negative by significant to employment. Third, variable COVID-19 pandemic that effect positive by significant to employment. Implication. Implication theoretical study in this expected called used for development science economy in lower number employment, so that could imply and use in accordance with needs which will explore by expert development. Second, implication practical study is effective code used by part which relates so that method lines in the workplace along with solution which best for lower number employment. Limitation of the research. Based on experience direct research into the process study, there is number of limitations. The first sample year which weren't not enough long so that should year give range 5 year on the top. Second, variable independence should look for variable others who more tech effect like progress, technology, quality population, etc. Third, in process taking data, there is number of data that need time for province BPS, especially so that need time which no France. Recommendation for further researcher. Based on study which has research that is number of advice that differ more, the first for research next expected for third year which more long order data for more accurate. Second, give variable which more select and data that already there is a number of location government. Thank you. Sorry for our mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.